Hi, I'm Mark Motzfero, Public Information Officer for the City of Vacaville, and this is another episode of Word on the Street with Vacaville Police Chief Richard Word. Chief, thank you for taking some time out of your day.
Sure, my pleasure.
We haven't done one of these in a while, so there's a lot of catching up to do, and there's a couple of issues that are kind of big on the horizon that we should let the community know about. But first of all, let's talk about some of the things that have happened since our last show, in particular the shooting at 1501 Alamo.
Yes.
And what transpired after that.
Yeah. Well, tragic. I mean, a young man, I think he's 19 or 20, is shot by, another young guy. At least that's what we suspect. Mm-hmm. And this guy, after witnesses gave us some crucial information, our suspect flees the state to Washington State. Washington State officials capture him. I think he's involved in some other crime, some other incident up there, so they alert us. And this guy, Mark, was someone we had frequent contact with. Rico Espidi is the suspect's name. Frequent contact. So my guys, my detectives, were not surprised that he was responsible for the shooting.
And I think one thing that I noticed in terms of what happened, what was reported, and what eventually transpired was, because when it initially happened, there was a lot of discussion. There was some confusion in terms of, was it one guy, was it two guys,
Sure.
were they running this way and that way, and then 2 weeks later, they arrest somebody in Washington. You know?
And it speaks to the value of people telling us what they saw. Mm-hmm. You may only see a portion of some incident, but we can piece that together with some other information we receive, and really recreate this crime, and that's how we capture suspects.
And what's unfortunate is, as you mentioned at the outset, the person who was killed was 19, 20 years old.
Yes, young guy.
The person who was arrested was 19, 20 years old.
2 lives completely
over.
ruined. Yeah, completely ruined.
For over what?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. I don't know the motive for this. There was no justification for it. Didn't make any sense.
Right. Something went bad, and now 2 lives are ruined. So, well, it's unfortunate that this transpired. It's good that this person was arrested. Good police work again. It's one of the things I always tell people about our police department is we send out a press release. 99% of the time, it ends with the suspect was apprehended.
Yeah, I tell you, the detectives and officers on the street, our civilian employees, dispatchers, crime scene technicians, they take this thing personally.
Right.
They want to see these people captured to protect, the city and our residents, and to make sure we protect Vacaville's reputation.
Right, and that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, they clearly have a vested interest in what happens in our town.
They do.
And I think it shows in the results.
Yeah, it means a lot.
And speaking of results, there was an article I saw today about the safest town in the United States is in the Bay Area, and I thought for sure it was going to be Vacaville. But
what town was that?
It was Belvedere.
Belvedere.
Yeah, population 2,000, average age is 53, and the median income is 125,000.
Okay.
So their last violent crime was 2007, I think. So
nice.
So it wasn't us, but I'm sure, I didn't check the list, but I'm sure we're up near the top.
We're up, in the top 3 of cities our size, 75,000 or above, in Northern California. So we're doing well. We moved up a notch, which I'm happy to see. Crime is still down this year, which is to some extent counterintuitive to what you would think given the economy. So we're doing well.
Good.
With reduced staffing too.
Well, reduced staffing, crime's down, things seem to be going real well, and something looms on the horizon that a lot of people think might have an impact on all those things, and that's the probation realignment?
Parole.
Parole realignment.
Yes,
Pardon.
that's a big one.
Government euphemism for?
Yeah, basically they're shifting responsibility for the so-called non-serious, non-violent, non-sex offender parolees, those released from our state prisons, now will be shifted to the supervision of county probation. And so the idea is, instead of spending $48,000 a year, which I believe is the number to house somebody in state prison, locally we can do it less expensively, either through county jail time, probation supervision, frequent drug testing, maybe GPS, we could do the electronic monitoring. You could have home detention. So that's the idea of parole realignment. We can do it better locally, and you don't have the higher expense of state prison, which provides medical care, psychiatric care, dental care, you name it.
So, but who's paying for it at the local level?
Well, we're going to get some state some sales tax money. There's a one-time shift. I think the voters are going to be asked to make this funding permanent. It will be extremely difficult to supervise this population without the funding.
Yeah,
some funding.
Right.
We're not getting as much as the state would pay. So the state's saving money, and they believe, I agree, we can do it better, but my concern is, Mark's county mental health, they're needed, they've been cut.
Right.
County probation is certainly needed, they've been cut. The sheriff's department has been cut. Local police departments have all had their staffing cuts. And now you're making this change. That's the biggest challenge we face.
Well, the state's good at doing that. The state they're experts at putting responsibilities on local jurisdictions without funding.
Yeah.
The old unfunded mandate.
Exactly. So we're working. We have a community corrections partnership. I'm a part of it in the county. So is the probation chief, the sheriff, public defender, DA. And we're working on the whole process, working with the courts, working with probation, talking to the sheriff, and we want to make sure he has jail capacity. He does now, but my concern is once agencies such as Vallejo, Vacaville, and Fairfield begin to restore some of their lost positions, we may fill that jail too. Yeah.
So do we have any idea how many folks are going to be placed in our community?
The estimate, as I recall, in the county, we would start to see a flow of 30 a month. But these folks in the state prison are going to be released anyway.
Right.
The change here is who supervises them when they're released. And now for the non-sex, non-serious, non-violent, it would be county probation, not state parole.
Okay. So, and we kind of talked about this earlier. They're going to get out.
Yes.
They don't stay in prison forever.
No, unless you're serving a life sentence or you're on death row.
Right.
Yeah, 93% is what I've read, or people that are going to be released from state prison at some point.
And not to try to make lemons out of lemonade, lemonade out of lemons, or whatever.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I got to believe we can do a better job at the local level.
I think we're going to have some early challenges, some early hiccups. But
we know these guys. We know these gals.
We do. And I think, in this county, we're collaborative. We work well together. I can pick up the phone and call a judge. I can call the sheriff. The probation chief can call me. So there are good relationships here.
Yeah.
Do we have sufficient services, alternative services to jail?
Right.
I'm not sure that we do yet.
Well, and that's the question. In terms of what's going on with prisons and the lawsuit about medical care and facilities and all that stuff, and it's just. It all boils down to money. It's always money.
No, that's it. And there's never enough.
Right, never. Well, speaking of money and speaking of changes and things like that, there's lots of changes going on in the police department, aren't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been here almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
5 of the fastest years of my life. And part of that is knowing...
Very long years, if you
ask you maybe.
Certain people.
But anyway... since I've been here, we've gone through at least 7 or 8 lieutenants, I mean,
significant
toward the end of the year, you'll have a whole new command staff, won't you?
Yet again, yeah. Another Lieutenant Randy Weaver, just announced his retirement. 30 full years.
Yeah.
Which is tremendous. I think his start date was September 8th, 1981 was his actual start date. So I'm happy for him. 30 years, his family's good and healthy. He's healthy.
Right.
And he lives in town, so he won't be a stranger. We'll miss him. He currently runs our investigations unit. So that will leave me with 3 lieutenants and myself, so it's a reduced command staff.
But the 3 guys we have in place, John Carley and Terry Cates and Ian Schmutzler,
yes,
they're all 3 really good guys.
Sharp guys, hardworking guys, multitaskers. So that's what I need nowadays. Someone that can wear different hats at the spur of a moment.
And they seem to like me too, which is...
Do they? Oh, okay, that's a concern.
Something you want to put in our file for later.
Performance evaluation.
But I guess the point I want to make is that the department's still in really good hands.
They are.
These guys are not rookie cops.
No,
they're veterans.
Yeah, Cates has been around 27 years, and John Carley 20 plus years. So Ian's worked patrol. They've all worked patrol, and they've worked different assignments. They know the organization. They know the city, which means a lot to me. They understand the budget challenges we face. They're good people. They'll do a good job. They've done a good job.
But how does that make your job harder, easier? Does it even notice?
If someone, God forbid, is injured or sick, then you're stuck to 2. If somebody takes a vacation, you could be just 1 lieutenant. So It may mean at night and weekends, where you got to keep that phone handy.
Right.
You may need to respond to a serious incident in the field. You may have to flex your hours to attend meetings and stuff like that.
Right.
But the folks that we have, they're willing to do that. I don't have to ask.
Right. And again, the department's a strong one.
I think so.
No doubt
Good
about
reputation. We're hiring. We're undergoing the hiring. And what I like to see, Mark, is our officers are excited about some hiring for the first time in 3 years.
It's been a while.
Yeah, they want to be a part of the process. They want to be field training officers. They want to be on the oral panels. They want to do the background checks. We had over 150 candidates, I think, over a couple of days show up in the back here for the physical agility test. And a lot of our people came just to watch.
Just to see.
They were excited.
How many positions are we talking about?
Well, the idea so far, I hope it holds, is 6.
Right, that's right, 6, right?
Yeah. And so we're excited. We have candidates from local police agencies here, candidates from Sacramento, candidates from Contra Costa County agencies, and over 100 academy graduates.
And I got to believe, and this is awful, we're going to, again, we're going to take advantage of someone's unfortunate situation. It's a pretty deep talent pool right now, isn't it?
It is, unfortunately. With the layoffs in the bigger cities, Oakland and Sacramento and
San Jose, everybody, Sacramento, yeah.
And then other people that still see us, which I'm proud of, as an attractive employer. People want to come work here. Yeah. Experienced officers. One officer wants to come work here. He has a job. He's a 12-year veteran out here. So we're looking at him. We had a couple people that did work for us. They're applying to come back. Exactly.
I'm sure you have no idea. Maybe you do. I'll ask. Do you know how many officers live in town other than our own? Because I know there's a large number of public safety folks who live in Vacaville that work in other jurisdictions.
I don't know. Whenever I go to the dry cleaners, I look in that turnstile.
Yeah, right,
see all the different uniforms. It's amazing what you see.
Yeah.
From Richmond to Ross PD.
Yeah.
All over. Costa County, CHP, Sassoon. I don't know. I'd love to, put that on a map just to see.
It'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Because clearly Vacaville's a safe town. And police officers and firefighters are no different from anybody else.
No kidding.
They want to raise their family in a safe place, you know?
I think it contributes to our safety of this town. Imagine when you look at the current officers and maybe the retirees. Wow, all of the different agencies. It's got to be well into the hundreds.
Right. So that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. It's definitely over 100, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So, and that's good. Like I said, that just bodes well for our town and the safety,
speaks well
of our town. Absolutely. Anything else we need to discuss? Or
no, crime is down. It was down through August, 19% are serious crime, which is I'm so happy.
That's a great number. When you look at how it's gone the last 2 or 3 years, to keep going down, trending downward.
But what concerns me is people say, crime's up. Someone said that at a council meeting not long ago. I said, that's not true. He said, well, then he qualified it. Well, I think it is in my neighborhood.
Yeah, well, if you just got robbed, crime is up.
And so
it's up 100%.
Yeah, and you can't say crime's up because you've read a few stories of crime. That doesn't mean crime's up. But as you've said before on many occasions, we capture the majority of people that commit serious crime in this town. And we'll continue to do that.
Good. Well, Chief, thank you for giving us some of your time. And,
yes, sir.
Thank you for watching.